Good morning, Mega Podlings. I don't know if anyone's watching yet, but if you are, good morning, Mega Podlings. Let me get things going up here on the chat so I can see what is going on. What is going on in the world? Where's the volume on this thing? I don't want to hear myself. I need to have the volume down so I don't have to hear myself. All right. Where am I? It's under Mega Podtastic. That's where I find my channel. Duh. All right. Here we go. Crazy After Dark 5:13:19 is the volume down. So we don't have. No, I can hear myself. I don't want to hear myself. There we go. There we go. Hey, we got Andrew Rodenbucher. Did I pronounce that right? What's up? Hey, Ryan DVD Collection. Hey, Ryan, good to see you. Geriatric Geek. Todd. Hey, thank you, Todd. Thank you. Jessica, good to see you guys. Glad you liked the video today, Jessica. I know. Let me tell you a little bit. For those who don't know where Clean Teeth, Dirty Streets comes from, that is something Dave Perillo, Dave Perillo, Lunchbox Bunch, Dave Perillo, he came up with that hashtag several years ago. And if you go to Twitter and type in the hashtag Clean Teeth, Dirty Streets, you will find a lot of pictures of flossers. It just happens to be the first time I ever featured it in a video, but people all over the world really email Dave Perillo pictures of flossers on the floor, or they send them to him on Twitter with that hashtag. And Punk Nerd says, can I tell CS about an email about a collab? Sure, I'll tell him. Rachel, hello. Hey, Rachel, she's a new subscriber. Welcome. Ryan, glad you had fun. Glad we didn't let you down. Like I said, we disappoint everybody. So I'm glad we didn't disappoint you. Andrew, no, I pronounced it right. Yay! I get things right. Joey says, back at the spacebar. Yes, I have over 1,000. I can live stream from my cell phone again. And I thank all of you for that, because I wouldn't have been able to do that without you. Every single one of you. Unless if you didn't subscribe, in which case you didn't help. But thank you for coming anyway. R&D Studios says hello all. Hello, R&D. Sav is here. Hello, Sav. Sav, just today, I just saw the message you sent me Wednesday on Facebook. I don't always get those Facebook messages. It's something, I don't know how those things work. A lot of it also probably has to do with the fact that my new job, I don't get any kind of a signal in that building. And I'm finding voicemails from like 2 weeks ago that I didn't know people left, because not only didn't the call get through, I didn't even get the notification there was a voicemail. So the cell phone reception in that place is horrible. Ryan DVD Collection, if you don't know who Ryan is, he was on my video that I posted earlier today. He was on Cinema Sickness's video. We met him at the flea market. He's trying to get up to 300 subs. So he's right there in the chat room. Find his name, Ryan DVD Collection 2323. There's also a link on my last video. Go give him a sub. Let's get him up to 300. Punk Nerd says, do I want to voice guest with CS if he wants to? Sure, let me know what's going on. Let me know what's going on, what the time frame is. I'm up for anything. Jesse is here. Hello, Jesse. Hello, Marie. Thank you, Marie. I'm glad you enjoyed him. Who's my favorite Simpsons character? Ooh, good question. Always like the comic book guy. I like Duff Man. I don't know. That's a good question. You know what? No, I do know. It's Disco Stew. Disco Stew is my favorite. Disco Stew. Hey, I was at my mom's yesterday for Mother's Day, And I brought back some of my stuff that was in her basement that never made it to the house. And look who I found. Otto, the automatic pilot. From the Airplane Don't Call Me Shirley edition DVD from many years ago. But he was in my old bedroom, and I brought him home with me. So anyway. Life well spent. Great line. Ryan says, probably going to be at Jake's Flea Market. And they said I might be going to Pam's. Maybe I'll be catching up with you that day. I don't always get to go to Jake's with them because, you know, I got the kids. I can't really get out as much as some of those guys. Lewis Switcher's here. How are you, Lewis? I saw you popped in to the live stream we were doing on the boardwalk the other day. I was watching it after the fact, and it looks like you popped in right when I went off to get a Dole Whip. I went to get a Dole Whip, handed CS the camera, and then I had no idea what he was doing until like the next day I went back and watched it. So, Sab says, have I heard of a UK show called Not Going Out? No, I haven't. I just recently, I don't know the name of the show though. You know, I'm a big fan of Star Trek Discovery, and the one guy on Star Trek Discovery, he plays the Klingon Vok, and he plays the human Ash Tyler. He plays both of them. Apparently, he was on a British sitcom. Wait, I just found this out. I had no idea. I just found out recently. So I need to check it out. I saw some clips of it. He played like a guy named like something Fandango. Look kind of funny, but and I'm like, hey, that's Ash Tyler. I got to find out what the name of that show is and check that out. Apparently, Geriatric Geek says he gave Ryan a sub. Awesome. Geriatric Geek, am I sub to you? Because if I'm not, I should be, and I need to be, and I gotta make that happen. Mental notes. I can't do it now because it would, or can I? Let me see. Can I do it now? Hang on a second. Go to channel. I'm going to lose the stream just for a second here, guys. Just bear with me. I am subscribed. I thought I was. I just had to be sure. I had to be sure. Lewis Switcher says, yeah, you miss me. Yeah, no, the Dole Whip place was closed. I was so upset. I was looking forward to it all day, and they were closed. Anyway. Joey says, it's nice to see that I can adjust my camera and not have the stream shut down. Yes. Yes, it is. Am I streaming in 4K or something? Oh, well, thank you. No, it's probably because I just replaced the lights in here. I think the lighting's a little better because I had like 2 bulbs that were burned out. Maybe I am streaming in 4K. I don't know what my phone is capable of, quite frankly. Some days I look better than others. Like, I'll play them back sometimes, and they just don't look that good. Same phone, so I don't know what the difference is. DBZ says, just subscribed and wanted to ask what I think is the best animated movie of all time. Well, wow, DBZ, first of all, thank you for subscribing. I love The Iron Giant. But greatest of all time, that is a tough question. So much to go by. I don't know, because there's classic animation, then there's the new like Pixar computer animation. It probably would have to be something. Man, Iron Giant's really good though. I was gonna say it was probably something by Disney, like. Snow White's not one of my favorite movies, but it was the first feature animated film, so that counts for something, being first. Some of the old Disney movies are just beautiful to look at, the animation style. Like Sleeping Beauty is just a gorgeous looking movie. I've always had a thing for The Jungle Book. Then we get to some of the Pixar stuff's really good. I don't know. I have a hard time answering that. Joey Baseball says, where was I when I heard that Doris Day died? Did she die today? I thought she was already dead. I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought she's been dead for a while, hasn't she? I could be wrong. Andrew says, who am I voting for during the next presidential election? Or am I voting? I don't, probably. Probably. R&D says, what type of laptop is that? I actually don't have a laptop with me right now. I'm reading the comments off my iPad and filming on my iPhone. I do have a Mac laptop, but it's very slow. Lewis says, I'd be a great actor, get my ass out to Hollywood. I don't know. I don't consider myself much of an actor. Movie Hunter is here. Movie Hunter, your signed itinerary went out in the mail today, and I got to tell you, I signed 2 autographs this weekend, which is 2 more than I sign on the average weekend. I still can't believe anyone wants me to sign anything, but it's on the way. Sav says I always look great. Oh, thank you, Sav. Osmosis Jones is best animation, Rachel says. Ryan is currently at 272, trying to get to 300. Go help Ryan out if you can. Jesse says, do I like heavy metal? I saw heavy metal once a long time ago. I know heavy metal isn't really anime because it's American, right? It was that was an American film, right? I saw it a long time ago. I don't really like anime. And even when something is American, if it looks like anime, I usually don't like it. It's one of the reasons I hate the new She-Ra. The new She-Ra cartoon looks like anime to me, and I can't stand the look of anime. So I know I'm a minority on that. People love anime. I know I'm in the extreme minority on that. E.T. says, what's up, Crazy Joe? Love your channel. Thank you, E.T. I appreciate it. Lewis says, I'm loving this setup on the show tonight. Looks prime time. Thank you. I don't know what I'm doing different. It must be the new lights. It looks okay on my phone. I'll have to play it back later. It feels good to be back at the bar though, because I was stuck at the computer for a while there, which was a shame. R&D Studios says, oh yeah, apparently she died today. I had no idea. Like I said, I don't get internet access at my new job. So, and then I went right from my new job to a movie. So this is actually the first I've been on the internet really all day. Joey says, I guess that answers the question. You were right here. Yes, I was. Hey, look what else I found at my mom's house. My autographed 8x10 of the poster Shaft in Africa. The brother man in the motherland. Shaft is sticking it all the way. To Crazy Joe, Richard Roundtree. Richard Roundtree was a real jerk to me the day he signed this. I love the Shaft movies, but I gotta say, Richard Roundtree, not the nicest guy. It was my experience. Someone else may have met him and just thought he was the greatest. Ryan says, props again, Movie Hunter. Enjoy. Ryan, I apologize. I meant to write back to you today. I wrote back to Movie Hunter. I've been having internet problems lately because, first of all, yesterday I was on the move all day. It was, I got to make my wife happy on Mother's Day, got to make my mother happy on Mother's Day, and the two of them don't want to do the same thing. So Mother's Day was a very hectic day for me running around. And then today, I have so little internet access at work that I was able to shoot an email off to Movie Hunter, and I meant to shoot one off to you next, and then I ran out of time because my break was over. So I haven't forgotten you. I'm going to respond to your email. I apologize. I don't like being this behind on things, but I don't have a choice. I'm on my lunch at work, and it's my lunch break. I should be able to do what I want on my lunch break, right? That's what a lunch break is. You can do what you want. Except I still can't respond to emails because there's no access in the entire building. They don't give us the Wi-Fi password. And the building is shielded, so no signal gets in and out or out. If you want to use the internet, you got to step outside. And today it was downpouring rain, so I am out of the loop these days. I am not in the loop like I used to be. Anyway, Sav says I work with a Sav. Yes, I do work with a Sav. I think I was telling you that the other day. But her Sav stands for something completely. She's a girl for one thing. So yeah, it stands with something completely different. Uh, Lewis Switcher says, "What did I tell you? You're a star." Hey Lewis, I'd be happy to be getting a selfie with Lewis Switcher. So there you go. By the way, Lewis has a great channel. If no one's checking out Lewis, check out his channel. He does a really interesting. I don't even know how to describe it. He does a really interesting like mix between like a movie vlog, like like Cinema Sickness does, where here's what I picked up, here's some movies I got, but he kind of mixes it with a slice of life, like, hey, this is what I'm doing today. This is where I'm hanging out. This is where I'm getting a bite to eat today. This is the concert I'm going to, and he kind of mixes the two together, and it's I find it very entertaining, and the guy's got excellent taste in music. I always love it when he plays some he plays some great music on his channel, which I enjoy. But one of these days, Lewis, if you ever try to monetize, that's going to get you into trouble. They're gonna ding you on that your copyright strikes. But I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I got to say that. Anyway, I'm going off on tangents here. DBZ says, "What's the best Stallone movie?" God, it may be the boring choice, but I got to go with the original Rocky. I'm a serious, hardcore fan of the Rocky movies, and Rocky 1, I think, is the best of the Rocky movies. Trashed Fingers. Technically, heavy metal is anime because anime is shortening the word animation. Very true. Jesse says Tango and Cash. That's a fun movie. You know what's interesting? I don't know if anyone ever noticed this. I mean, it's obvious. It's not like it's hidden. It's right out there. But Stallone, with the exception of Rocky and Rambo, never made sequels. Rocky and Rambo were the only exceptions. He made sequels to Rocky and Rambo. None of his other movies ever got sequels. Until now. The Expendables and Escape Plan. But it's funny because he's just kind of starting to like embrace sequels now later in his career. Which sounds funny to say because he made 8 Rocky movies if we include the Creeds, and he just made his 5th Rambo. So he certainly went all in on Rocky and Rambo. But generally speaking, there was no Over the Top 2. There was no Cobra 2. There was no Tango and Cash 2. The guy, I just find it very interesting that he did so many sequels for Rocky and Rambo, but nothing else. Nothing else he ever made got a sequel until recently. I don't know. I find that interesting. It's probably not that interesting, but I find it interesting. Aubrey is here. She says, "Good evening, Joe. Sorry I'm late. I was seeing the fiance off to work. Well, you didn't miss much. I just got on a little bit ago. I was in a movie. Lewis says, forward me your agent's info. I'd love to book you on my show. I'd love to do it, man. I'd love to do it. If I can get out to Pittsburgh, that would be awesome. So I went to the movies tonight. If you've been watching my channel over the last couple months, I did interviews at Great Philly Comic Con with Nana Visitor, who played Kira Nerys on Deep Space Nine, and Jeffrey Combs, who played Wayoon and Brunt on Deep Space Nine, because both of them are in a documentary that I helped back on Indiegogo, a documentary called What We Left Behind. And it's a documentary on Deep Space Nine, the best of the Star Trek series. And tonight, for one night only, Fandango, or not Fandango, Fathom Events was playing it on the big screen, so I had to go out and see it. My name is supposedly in the credits, but I've seen the doc twice now, and I can't find my name in the credits. I kind of suspect they forgot me, but it's a great documentary. I can't recommend it enough. Unfortunately, it's not coming out on Blu-ray till August, which is too far away. I kind of want it now, and I'm getting it for free. That's one of my perks from being a backer of the Indiegogo campaign, is I get the free Blu-ray. But I'm sure the Blu-ray is going to be jam-packed with special features because it's by Shout Factory. Shout Factory does a great job. Jesse says, sounds like Richard Roundtree gave me the shaft. He really did. I wanted him. This is before I was doing YouTube, but I was doing the podcast. I wanted him to do a bumper for the podcast, and what I wanted him to say was, "Hi, this is Richard Roundtree, and that crazy Joe is a bad mother." And I was gonna say, "Shut your mouth," and he was gonna say, "I'm just talking about Megapodtastic," and I was gonna say, "And we can dig it," but he wouldn't do it. In fact, he looked very, very annoyed that I would even dare to ask him. I don't mind if someone turns me down. If I ask you, would you do a bumper? If I ask a celebrity, hey, can I get a bumper or something from you? I get when they say no. Like, I got no problem with that. They don't know who I am. They don't know what my show is. Like, imagine you're a celebrity. Someone comes up to you with a recorder, says, would you do a bumper for my podcast? And they say, hi, this is Richard Roundtree. You're listening to blah, 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 blah. And then little does he know, this guy's podcast is like the Adolf Hitler Worshippers Hour, and suddenly he's like, yeah, that Hitler was a great guy. Hey, this is Richard Roundtree, and you're listening to, he doesn't know what he's loaning his voice to. So I get that. I get it. I take no offense if someone turns me down, but turn me down politely. That's all I ask is turn me down politely. Say no in a polite manner. Don't just blow me off. It doesn't take much to be polite. Richard Roundtree wasn't polite. Anyway. R&D Studio says maybe he was having a bad day. It's true. It's very possible. It's very possible. I should give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess. Rachel says only anime besides Pokemon that I like is the original English dub of My Neighbor Totoro. I've never seen Totoro. Thrashed Fingers says he saw heavy metal at a free midnight show at a local theater a few months ago. Ryan points out that I've never seen Titanic. This is true. I've never seen Titanic. 3 hours long. I already know how it ends. Sav says, I grew up watching the original She-Ra and I loved it, but I hate the new She-Ra. Right there with you, Sav. I agree. Love the original. I can't stand the new one. Bradshaw says, I'm from Bend, Oregon. Hello, Bradshaw. R&D's in East Tennessee. I've been to Graceland. It's a good time. Joey Baseball says, whenever you say an actor was rude to you when you met them, I always think, I wish rudeness was the worst thing about my childhood. Here, Bill Cosby. Yeah, I hear you. Bill Cosby. Only 3 actors have ever been rude to me. Richard Roundtree, LeVar Burton, and who was the third? I'm forgetting now. There was a third. But I can't remember who it was now. Peter Mayhew. Oh, you know what? I didn't want to say that. I don't want to speak ill of the dead. I was going to keep that one to myself. But, well, now the cat's out of the bag. I spoke before I thought. But, yeah, Peter Mayhew was kind of rude. Anyway. Ryan says it's no problem at all. Never would expect you to use your lunch break. Me, no. You write to me, I want to respond to you. I'm just frustrated that I can't get a signal out of that building. It's like Empire. It's our Return of the Jedi. It's like they put the deflector shield up, and you got to go to that bunker and turn the shield off to get a cell phone signal out. It's insane. It is crazy. Evan says, how's my day going? I got to be honest. It's been a terrible day. It has been a rotten day from the morning to, this is probably the best part of the day. This has been the best part of the day right now. But it's been a rough day. Just starting right out. The kids were at each other's throats. They were fighting like cats and dogs this morning. Anyway. Lewis says, Joe, thank you, good man. Can't wait to meet you. One of these days, man. One of these days. We're in the same state, so it is bound to happen. Cobra is the best Stallone flick in my eyes. I can't disagree, Lewis. Hey, did you know that the song from Transformers the movie, The Touch, you got the touch, you got the power, that was written for Cobra. And Stallone turned it down. So they took it to Transformers the movie. But that song was written for Cobra. A little bit of trivia there. Joey Baseball says Meryl Streep never made a sequel until Mamma Mia 2. Is that true? Yeah, that probably is true. I never thought about that. Man, what one to start on? I hated Mamma Mia one. I wanted to love Mamma Mia. No, I never saw the movie. I gotta be honest. I never saw the movie Mamma Mia. I saw the stage show, but I was excited. I'm like a musical with ABBA music, all in, all in. But it's like it's just the plot of My Two Dads to set the ABBA music. I'm like, this is My Two Dads. This is the average My Two Dads episode, but you added ABBA music and a third dad. That's the only difference. You added a third dad and some ABBA music. Anyway. No Rhinestone 2. We need a Rhinestone 2 R&D. I will get behind that movie any day. Stop or my mom will shoot again. Oscar is an underrated Stallone movie. If Stallone was ever going to win an Oscar, it should. Well, he won an Oscar for his writing, not for his acting, for Rocky. But if Stallone was ever going to win an acting Oscar, he should have won the Oscar for Oscar, because that would have been great. Winning an Oscar for Oscar, that they would. How great's that? It is 3:15 a.m. in the UK. Sav, what time do you get up for work in the morning? I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate you watching, but that's like 2 hours before I have to get up. Lewis says I got to be in a Back to the Future documentary called BTTF on Bushnell Avenue. It was so much fun. Where can I watch it? Tell me where I can see that, Lewis. Joe Baseball says, how many times have you seen Won't You Be My Neighbor? Probably 3. I think I saw it twice in the theater and once on Blu-ray. I own it, but yeah, I've only watched the Blu-ray once. Aubrey says, do I have any other autographs? Oh man, Aubrey, I got so many. Right here next to me. Got this autographed Gremlins poster signed by Zach Galligan and the late Dick Miller, one of my all-time favorite character actors. I love Dick Miller. I'm heartbroken he passed. And Judge Reinhold, and he wrote to Crazy Joe, come on, we're talking cable. So that's right there. I got hanging on the wall next to me. You can't really see it. I've got a Serenity poster signed by Adam Baldwin and Alan Tudyk and the late Ron Glass and Jules State. There's Carrie Fisher. Both Patrick Stewart and Avery Brooks signed that one. William Shatner, Billy D. Williams. On the other side, what you can't see, is the Monkees movie Head, the poster to the Monkees movie Head, signed by all 3 of the living Monkees. Oh, I got to amend that. Peter Tork just passed, but Peter Tork signed it. Peter Tork, Mike Nesmith, Mickey Dolenz. God, I can't even accept that Peter's gone. I really can't. It's just heartbreaking. Anyway. X-Teen Featurette. The lovely Mrs. Switcher is here. How was meeting Nana Visitor? She is awesome. She is, when I talk about rude celebrities, Nana Visitor is one of the nicest celebrities I've ever met in my life. And I've met her several times, and every time, super nice. It's like she wants to give every person who waits in line to meet her undivided attention. Sweet, sweet lady. I love her. Knocking things over. Jesse says, favorite non-Back to the Future Michael J. Fox movie? Oh, that is easy. The Frighteners. I love The Frighteners. Ashton Kutcher was a real goober. Dickhead for sure. That's the only actor I met that sucked. I didn't really meet Ashton Kutcher, but I was in a room with Ashton Kutcher once. There used to be a show on VH1 back in 99, 2000. There was a show called VH1's The List. Does anyone remember this show? And it was a panel of celebrities would make up a list of best songs of a certain topic. Best songs of the 80s, best songs of the 90s, best songs to, I don't know, dump your girlfriend to, best songs to get drunk to. And they always narrow it down to 3 songs. And I was at a taping of VH1's The List, and Ashton Kutcher was on the panel. So that's the closest I've come to Ashton Kutcher, but I didn't get to meet him. Joe Buster says Casualties of War. Gotta be honest, I never saw that one. R&D says, for you movie collectors, Big Lots has the Alien Anthology and Planet of the Apes set in Blu-ray for $5. Ooh, very nice. Trying to catch up a little. I'm way behind on these chats here. Austin Dolan says, finally saw True Romance. It's a good movie. It's you say best Tony Scott movie, and I don't disagree. I think it is the best Tony Scott movie. I also controversial. I also think it's my favorite Tarantino movie, even though Tarantino didn't direct it; he only wrote it. That's probably my favorite Tarantino movie. Oreo, my buddy, what's going on over there? Why don't you sit down, man? Why don't you sit down? You're gonna get yourself into trouble. The cat and the dog don't like each other. So if like Oreo doesn't just like sit down, the cat, there could be conflicts, and so I got to keep an eye on him. He's right in front of me here, but he just got up and started shaking. Anyway, Lewis, this one, Joey Baseball says, and to think you've had such a terrible day, and then you find out that Doris Day died today when you thought she'd been dead for years. It reminds me of. I saw a tweet years ago from Richard Roper, and he wrote, Sony announced today that they're going to discontinue. This was about maybe 5-6 years ago. Richard Roper tweets, Sony announced today they're going to discontinue the Walkman. In other news, Sony was still manufacturing Walkmans. That made me laugh. Anyway, I'm sorry for Doris Day. It's the same thing with Jackie Cooper. Superman the movie, Jackie Cooper, he died several years ago. And Dave Perillo and I are talking to each other, and we're like, did you know he was still alive? We're like, no, I thought he was already gone. It's funny. Sometimes you don't even know who's still here with us. Lewis says, favorite movie snack, got to be popcorn. Got the popcorn machine right behind me there. I got a big thing of the Orville right here. And yeah, I'm a popcorn fanatic. Lewis says, Teen Wolf was Michael J. Fox's best movie, period. I do love Teen Wolf. Mike says, Joe had a Mandela effect with Doris Day. Possibly. Legend has it Maury is the one person who can successfully get cell phone reception at your job site. It's probably true. Lewis is going to send me a link to the documentary, which is great because I want to see that. Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time. Not just my favorite Michael J. Fox movie. It's my favorite movie, the whole trilogy. Aubrey says, have I thought about doing a collection tour video? You have so many good autographs. One of these days, God, this room is a mess right now. It really is. I got to clean stuff up here. Slipcover King says, yo, well, yo, back at you, Slipcover. Jesse says, I'm still sad that John Candy died. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm still not over Jim Henson's death, and that was 1990. Evan says, did I see the new Spider-Man trailer? I did. Already got my tickets. I cannot wait. Joey says he's never seen that VH1 show, The List, but it sounds like every video on YouTube. Probably true, but this was the days before YouTube. This was like 99. Anyway. Slipcover King just recently binge-watched Freaks and Geeks. Yeah, I was let down by the last episode, but it's a good show. Harry the Hammer. Welcome, Harry. Movie Hunter's going to head to work. Thanks for stopping by, Movie Hunter. Appreciate it. And enjoy your itinerary when it arrives. By the way, Movie Hunter, just so you know, when it arrives, the return address says Bryn Mawr Hospital. So if you get something from Bryn Mawr Hospital, don't think a hospital is billing you. That's us. Brandon Sullivan says, clean teeth, dirty streets. Clean teeth, dirty streets. Brandon, good. It was great hanging out with you the other day. We had a great time. If you check out the video I posted earlier today, and Cinema Sickness's last two videos, Brandon's in them. He met up with us, as did Ryan, and it was a good time. It was a good time. Lewis says, did I hear about Ernest Day in Tennessee where they filmed Camp. I did not. I know that most of those movies were shot in the Tulsa area, I believe. Is that right? Was it Tulsa? Because it was a Tennessee ad company that created Ernest, right? They, I think. I think that's right. I didn't know they had a day for him, but I approve. Rachel says, I had a Mandela effect when I thought Aretha Franklin was dead before she died. Sav says, do I remember the Back to the Future cartoon? Yes. Yes, I couldn't really get into it. I have a few episodes on DVD, but I had a hard time really getting into that show. Joey says he can't get into popcorn. The shells get stuck in his teeth. Yeah, this is true. Then you gotta floss with a flosser and then toss it on the ground. Clean teeth, dirty streets. Trademark Dave Perillo. Lewis's wife and I are bringing binging TGIF goodness still with Step by Step. Lewis, I gotta tell you, man, you tell me you hadn't seen Perfect Strangers. Do yourself a favor. They're all on Hulu. My absolute favorite TGIF show. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. And I met Larry and Balky. It was wonderful. Slipcover King says, I love Back to the Future. I'm meeting the cast this weekend at MegaCon. Is anyone else here going? That's awesome. Who all's there? Did they get the Fox? Is the Fox going to be there? He was here in Philly, but it was like $500 to meet him. I couldn't afford it. Aubrey says, Freaks and Geeks should have never been canceled. You know, I agree that it's a great show, Aubrey, but Judd Apatow later said that it's probably good that the show got canceled because where it was going to go, he said probably would have been a bit of a downer and people probably wouldn't have liked it. Like apparently Linda Carter, Francis Daly, John Francis Daly, he was going to join the Freaks and leave the Geeks behind, and then the Geeks and the Freaks were going to be at odds with each other. He said it was going to some dark places in season 2 if it had been renewed. Jesse asks, do I like The Last Starfighter? I love The Last Starfighter. Yeah, no, it's great. It's absolutely great. Yeah, love it. Brandon says they do a tour of the camp in Tennessee and show the movie and bring in some cast members. That's awesome. John Cherry created the character for ads in Tennessee. Yeah, John R. Cherry III. I should try to get him as a guest on the podcast. He'd be a great interview, wouldn't he? John R. Cherry III. I gotta look into that. I gotta look into that. Sav is wearing Bumblebee PJs. Keep wearing those pajamas. That's cool. I'm not wearing my pajamas right now because I literally came right in from the movie and came down here and set up. Lewis says popcorn's his favorite snack. Jiffy Pop has a special place in his heart. I am so with you. Slipcover King says they got the Fox, Lloyd, and Wilson. That's awesome. R&D says Perfect Strangers is so much fun. Love the episode after they see a ninja kung fu movie and start hunting each other in the apartment. I always like the one where they turned Balky into fresh young Balky B, but then had someone else dub in his voice. Like it was right when Milli Vanilli happened. And my wife can attest to this. Both my brother and I, at Christmas time when we start doing Christmas cookies, we can't make Christmas cookies without singing, when you're rolling out the dough, just make sure you roll it slow. If you roll the dough too quick, Bibby Bob can make you sick. When you pour the filling in, just make sure you will wear a grin. If you smile on what you bake, Bibby Bob can turn it swell. We can't make cookies without doing that. It drives my wife crazy. My wife. Rachel says, I've only seen Ernest Goes to Jail. Rachel, Ernest Goes to Jail is easily my favorite of those movies. I love that movie. Slipcover King says Thompson, Tolkien, and even some people from Boy Meets World. Lewis says, I don't stream television or film, Joe. I'm sort of stuck in another world. I really show my age. I get it. I totally get it. But I wouldn't ask you to go out and buy Perfect Strangers sight unseen because you might hate it. You might, and they're expensive DVDs too because you have to get them from Warner Archives, or at least everything after season 2. Season 1 and 2 were given an official release. You might find them in a thrift store or something. But seasons 3 on, Warner Archives made on demand, so they're, a little bit pricey. Which I didn't mind paying for them because I love the show, but I wouldn't tell like someone who's never seen it, go out and buy that made on demand video that's going to cost you like 30 some bucks. Harry says, used to love Perfect Strangers. The guy who played Balky also was in Beverly Hills Cop. Yes. And he was in True Romance. My favorite Tarantino movie. Jesse says, Joe, I went and seen some of the filming locations of Police Academy in Toronto. That's awesome. That is awesome. How long ago was that? Tell me about it. Was it recently? Did you film it? Do you have pictures? Inquiring minds want to know. I'd like to see that. If you have pictures or video, I'd like to see it. Aubrey says, are there any Stephen King books you would like to see made into a film? You know what? There is a horror novel I would love to see turned into a movie. But it's not by Stephen King. It's by an author named Richard Lehman. Has anyone ever heard of Richard Lehman? He's really good. He's passed away, but he's really good. He's not as famous as Stephen King. And he wrote a book that I loved called The Traveling Vampire Show. It's like if you mixed the Wonder Years with vampires, you'd have The Traveling Vampire Show. Really like this book, and I'd love to see it turn into a movie. Joey says, who are my favorite SNL actors going from the 70s till now? Well, Bill Murray, of course. Dan Aykroyd. I love, my all-time favorites are Tim Meadows, which is a controversial choice, but man, Tim Meadows was funny. And what you got to remember about Tim Meadows is sometimes even when he wasn't the funniest one in a skit, he wrote the skit. Like, he was one of the best writers on the show. He wrote some great stuff. But I think he was hilarious. And Norm Macdonald has got to be my all-time favorite. John Lovitz, of course. Phil Hartman, of course. Dana Carvey was great. There's so many good cast members from Saturday Night Live. Chevy, even at the time, was terrific. I mean, obviously, a lot of what Chevy's done recently hasn't been as great, but my God, Chevy was brilliant back then. And John Belushi, of course. I mean, you can just go on and on and on and on. There have been so many great performers on Saturday Night Live over the years. And he was terrible on Saturday Night Live because of the writing. But I'm a huge Gilbert Godfried fan. So Gilbert Godfried is probably one of my favorite Saturday Night Live cast members of all time, but not for his work on Saturday Night Live, because his work on Saturday Night Live was not good, but I love everything he did after. Joey says, am I going to the Double Dare Live tour? This is the first I'm hearing about it, but I'm interested. Now I'm going to have to look that up. Rachel says, I would love to see the Police Academy TV series come to DVD. And I'm not talking about the animated series. Do you remember the live action series from 97 where Michael Winslow was the only cast member who came back as a regular? Though Commandant Lassard and Callahan and a couple others, Mauser, they made guest appearances on episodes, but the only one who was there every week was Michael Winslow. I'd love to see that show on DVD. Mike says, thoughts on Cobra Kai being aired on regular YouTube with commercials? I think it's great. YouTube Premium, YouTube Red, whatever they were calling it, quite frankly, they were overcharging. It's like $15 a month. None of the other streaming services were that high, and they only had one show. They really couldn't justify that kind of price for just Cobra Kai. Like, I mean, if you can get Netflix and CBS All Access and Hulu and all these other better streaming services cheaper, why would I want to pay like that much for YouTube? So I think it's a smart move. Splorin Ryan is here. Good evening, Ryan. Good to see you. I am so tired. It has been a long day. It's been a long day. Anyway, I'm starting to sing the Enterprise theme. That's always a sign that it's been a long day. Oh, Harry says Andy Kaufman. I am a huge Andy Kaufman. Hang on, hang on. I'll be right back. I don't like to walk away from you guys like this, but just give me a second. I love Andy Kaufman. There's my Andy Kaufman action figure. The only thing it's missing is the intergender wrestling champion belt. He needs the intergender belt. I love Andy, but I don't even think of Andy on Saturday Night Live because he was never a regular. He just did guest appearances a lot. Joe Buster says, I want to marry Tina Fey. You know, Tina Fey is from my old neighborhood. She's from Delaware County, Pennsylvania, which is about 45 minutes from here, which is where I grew up. So she is from my old hood, as the kids say. Never met her, but... Lewis says Chris Farley. Chris Farley was great. Chris Farley was great. Lewis, yes, Police Academy was a live-action TV series for one season in 1997. Didn't run long. You could probably find it on YouTube. Look up some clips for Police Academy, the series. Explorer Ryan says, Harry the Hammer, sorry to hear about the issues tonight. I think I missed something. Everything all right, Harry? If you said something in the chat, I'm afraid I missed it. I hope everything's okay. Kevin's here, Kevin Barry. Put Jan Hooks and Phil Hartman on my SNL Mount Rushmore. Both great. Both really, really good. Joey says, my favorite SNL actor ever is Eddie Murphy. Oh, absolutely. I think those early 80s seasons were hit or miss, but Eddie Murphy and Joe Piscopo were the superstars of those seasons. No question about it. R&D Studios says, so many movies. Try TV series 9 to 5. StarMan. StarMan was a great show, though. StarMan died before its time. I actually had Robert Hayes from the movie Airplane on Megapodtastic just to talk about Starman. I mean, we talked about Airplane too. You can't have Robert Hayes and not talk about Airplane, but he was there primarily to talk about Starman. I'm overheating down here. I wish I turned the fan on before I started. Jesse says, oh, no, I read that already, didn't I? Oh, Woodbine Mall was where they shot The Freshman. Lewis says, Captain Harris was my favorite character. G.W. Bailey was brilliant. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, the only reason Captain Harris came back with Police Academy 4, because, you know, he wasn't in 2 or 3. The only reason he came back in 4 was because the actor who played Mauser had a bad accident. He fell and he couldn't walk. I think he can walk again. I could be wrong. But for many, many years, he could not walk. Art Matrano. And he was all set to shoot Police Academy 4, and he had this accident, and suddenly he couldn't walk anymore. And they called up G.W. Bailey and were like, could you come back? So Captain Harris ended up coming back, but it was supposed to be Mauser again until Art Matrano had that unfortunate accident. Mike says, I need a Jerry Lawler figure. Yeah, I probably do. Man, I love Andy Kaufman. One of my all-time heroes. I love Andy. The documentary, I'm forgetting the name of the documentary now. The documentary about Andy and the wrestling. I'm from Hollywood. Brilliant, man. Brilliant. I love it. Lewis says, do I remember Soul Man with Dan Aykroyd? Oh, the sitcom where he was a priest. I remember it being on, but I actually never saw it. It was on at, it was before DVR. It was like late 90s. It was before the DVR explosion. So I never actually caught it because I was in college at the time. There was a period of time where I didn't see anything that was on TV. Except Star Trek. Star Trek was appointment television for me, but yeah. Jesse says, I've seen the 80s movie Soul Man with C. Thomas Howell. I remember that movie. Sav says Starman was a great TV show. Absolutely. And you know what? They could revive that easily because much like the Doctor on Doctor Who, they got a built-in right into the story. They got a built-in venue for him to have a new body, a new actor every time. And it makes sense plot-wise. So, yeah, you could bring Starman back easily. Joe Buster says, sometimes I started watching Andy Kaufman videos on YouTube and it can kill hours. Yeah, I've done the same with both Andy and Norm Macdonald. There's a channel on YouTube called I'm Not Norm, and all it is clips of Norm Macdonald on talk shows, Norm Macdonald doing stand-up. I can get lost in that for hours. Joey says, was Mr. T nice to me? Very nice to me. Mr. T said, I love you because you show me love. Those were exact words he said to me. And meant a lot to me. Really did. Harry the Hammer says, I love Andy Kaufman. Absolutely. Can you imagine? What would Andy Kaufman be doing if he were still alive today? We can only imagine. Ever have Cousin Willie's microwave popcorn? No. I'll have to look it up. Jesse says, who's an actor I wish would do movies again? Jesse wishes for Rick Moranis. I'm going to agree with you. Rick Moranis, easily. I'd love to see Rick Moranis in movies again. That would be terrific. Man, he was great. I'd love to see him come back. I'd love to see him have a cameo in AntMan 3 as Wayne Selinsky and reveal that, like, Wayne Selinsky in 1989 was like lab partners with Hank Pym. I think that would be hilarious and it would make sense. I don't know. And they're both Disney, so you could do it. I just read tonight they're rebooting Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, no. I'm not interested. If it's not Rick Moranis, I'm not interested. Though I did enjoy the TV show where it was Peter Scolari, and I'm hoping the TV show is on the Disney streaming service, Disney Plus, because that show has been like forgotten to time. Mike Crawford said, is there a DVD release for the Starman TV show? Again, I hate stepping off camera like this, but if you just give me a second. Please stand by. I don't know if it's still available. I'm sure it is. But yeah, that's how I got Robert Hayes to come on the podcast. We talked about the DVD release, but much like Warner Archives, it's video on demand through Sony. You used to be able to get it through Amazon. They're probably still making it. I don't know if they're making it or if it's out of print, but this was manufactured on demand, and it came out several years ago. Starman, the complete series. Such a great show. So yeah, if you're a fan of Starman, you can get that series, but it's made on demand like the Warner Archive stuff. Sav says, Joe, come to London. We can go movie hunting and go for a few beers. If I had the money, man, I would be all over that offer. I would love to. Lewis says, am I a fan of any Eric Roberts work? You know what? I'm ashamed to say I don't know that I've seen many Eric Roberts movies. And I feel shame. I feel shame saying that. I need to correct that. Joey Baseball says, well, they reboot something every 10 minutes. That's true. Well, we're actually less in the reboot era. The reboot era seems to be kind of going a little bit behind, and now we're in the years later sequel era. Or turn it into a streaming TV series with the original cast era. I feel like that's kind of where we're going. Like Ash versus the Evil Dead or Fuller House or... what are some of the others? Like, it seems like we're kind of in an era now where they just bring the original guys back for like a streaming TV series or something. X-Team Featurette says, Joe, convince Lewis Switcher to watch Star Trek Discovery with me. I haven't seen the second season because he won't stop watching Step by Step. Lewis, Star Trek Discovery is awesome, man. It is really awesome. Season 2 is so much fun. They go back into an old original series episode, and it's really cool the way they do it because they modernize it. However, they have flashbacks. You got to see it. You got to see it. It's great. Ethan Peck, Peck's grandson, plays Spock now. He's really good in the part. It's terrific, and I didn't really like the season finale. I didn't like the way they told the story. Let me put it that way. I didn't like the way they told the story in the season finale, but I loved where they went. Like when you see where they cliffhanger you for season 3, it's pretty exciting. I can't wait to see season 3. Like I wasn't crazy about how they got there, but where they were going, I'm totally on board with. Aubrey says you can't reboot Honey I Shrunk the Kids. It's classic like Back to the Future. I agree. Excuse me. Woo! I am sneezy. They reboot everything, even Adventures of Babysitting. Yeah, they do. It's a shame. Have you noticed that they're unbooting things now? That's a word my friend James Clark came up with. Unbooting. It's when they reboot something, but then they go back to the old one after the reboot. Like Halloween. Rob Zombie rebooted Halloween, and then the new Halloween came out and unbooted Halloween and went back to the original. So now we're kind of in the unboot era, or Evil Dead, they made a reboot of Evil Dead, and then they made Ash versus the Evil Dead and unbooted it. Or Karate Kid, you got Will Smith's kid made the remake of Karate Kid, but now Cobra Kai has unbooted it. Anyway. Ooh, I need a tissue, and I don't have one. Austin says, controversial opinion, but the original Adventures in Babysitting was bad. Ooh, that is a controversial opinion, sir. Film is subjective, so I can't say you're wrong, but I do strongly disagree. I enjoy it. Oh, and speaking of Star Trek Discovery, Adventures in Babysitting had Anthony Rapp in it, who is now Paul Stamets on Star Trek Discovery. It all comes back to Star Trek. Where's my Discovery? Here it is. Here goes the Discovery. Oh, here it comes again. Anyway. Lewis says, will I see the new Child's Play? I want to see it, but I want to make sure they don't get my money for it. It looks good. It looks like it's a well-made movie, but the politics, the corporate politics behind it, I don't like what they did to what's his name? Don Mancini. I don't like it. I think that Don Mancini's franchise is still going. They to create a competing franchise with the creator of the series, it just feels dirty to me. I don't like it. But in spite of that, it looks like they did a pretty good job. So, excuse me. Hang on a second. It's like Chester Cheetah over here. It's not easy being sneezy. Anyway. Lewis Switcher says the third Halloween called Halloween. Yes. Exactly. Anthony Rapp is amazing. I agree. I love Anthony Rapp. Austin says, good, hated the remake of Karate Kid. I couldn't bring myself to see that one, honestly. Austin, maybe it's not fair to criticize something without seeing it, but some of these things I just don't want to see, quite frankly. Jesse says, Anthony Rapp was the guy who Kevin Spacey molested. Absolutely. That is correct. I've been meaning to do a video about this, like a whole video about this, but I want to do a video about the legacy of movies, good movies, quality movies, movies that everyone agrees are good movies, that the stars we later on find out are complete and total monsters. Specifically something like American Beauty, Kevin Spacey movie. knowing what you know now about Kevin Spacey, how do you feel about going back and revisiting those movies? I think it's an interesting topic because you got to separate the art from the artist, and one actor or one director, like whatever. Is it fair for their actions to taint an entire movie when hundreds and hundreds of people worked on that movie? I don't know. I think it's an interesting topic, and I think it's one worth talking about. Maybe not now. That could dominate the whole rest of the stream if we wanted it to. Anyway, uh, Mike Crawford says technically the Karate Kid and Evil Dead aren't reboots, but take place in the original universe. Whoa, wait a minute, really? I knew about Ash having a cameo in Evil Dead, but did Karate Kid with Jackie Chan and Will Smith's kid, did that really take place in the same universe as the other Karate Kids? I didn't know that. I didn't see the movie. Did they reference them? Let me know. I'm interested now. Sav says, I love all the Star Treks, the original series, Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise. I can't get into Discovery. I like them all except Voyager. I have trouble with Voyager. But Deep Space Nine, the original, and I gotta say, Discovery is quickly replacing Next Generation as like my third favorite. It was always Deep Space Nine, original, Next Generation, but Discovery is starting to knock Next Generation down to number 4. I think, in my opinion, because the rating's been so strong. Lewis says Don is making a TV series. They treated Mancini really poorly. I agree. I don't think it's cool, man. Like he's still working on that franchise, and it's like I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me. Salivating Salamander is here. Hello, Salivating. What's a movie that you saw that was so bad you had to turn it off and walk out of the theater? Oh man, I wanted to walk out of the theater in Batman and Robin. I hated Batman and Robin so much I wanted to walk out, and my brother wouldn't let me because he was in the theater with me and he was enjoying it. So he was having none of it. I walked out of Valerian. I hated Valerian, and there was only like 20 minutes to go. And I asked myself, is there anything they could possibly do in 20 minutes that will redeem this movie? And I thought, no. There's nothing that's going to redeem this movie for me. I hate this movie. I just hate it. And I can't see them anything fixing it in 20 minutes. So that's when I walked out of, was Valerian. What was... Joey says, Joe, if you do that, then you can't ever watch any movie. What's that? Gouge my eyes out? What can't I watch any movie for? I'm not sure what that was in reference to. Joe Buster says OJ is likable in The Naked Gun. Who knew? Very true. Very true. Jesse says I still have a hard time watching Ghost Dad with Bill Cosby. Damn you, Bill Cosby. I hear you. Oh, Joey says those OJ jokes were funny. The ones I was reading out of the book, I didn't get half of them. I gotta be honest, I didn't get half the jokes I was reading. X-Team Featurette says, I also can't get into Voyager. DS9's my favorite. But yeah, man, I'm so with you, X-Team. I totally agree. DS9 is my favorite, and I'm loving Discovery so much. Voyager could have been great. Like, I mean, the potential is there. The idea of a ship lost in space, but they never really took advantage of their premise. Like, it's supposed to be a crew lost on the other side of the galaxy, but like every week it seemed like things just kind of went back to the way they were. Like everything was fine. It was like just like the Next Generation, and it's like, well, they can't go back for repairs. I always felt like in the later seasons the ship should have been like falling apart. Like it should have been like they were doing everything they could to keep that ship together. Like they should be like salvaging like scraps and things to try to keep that ship going because they didn't have a star base, and characters should have died. Like it should have been almost like you know, like on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. Nobody was safe on Buffy. You know, like characters would die, and I think that should have been Voyager because of their situation, being lost on the other side of the galaxy with no backup. Like I think they should have lost characters. Um, the raw potential was there, and they never really quite took advantage of it, in my opinion. Aubrey says, I think that a video like that should be done. I love Kevin Spacey films, but do I like him now? Not so much. Yeah, I think. And here's another one. Fat Albert. Fat Albert is a wonderful show with moral messages for kids. Like, there's good messages in every episode of Fat Albert. But do you feel comfortable letting your kids watch Fat Albert knowing who Bill Cosby is today? It's weird. Like obviously there's nothing inappropriate in the show. I don't know. I think it's an interesting conversation to have. And I don't think there's a right or wrong answer either. I think it's all personal, like how you feel personally. I mean, you could go right back to Roman Polanski, Rosemary's Baby, or Chinatown, or like. Then again, like how many people worked on that movie? Is it fair to hold Roman Polanski responsible for the whole production? Like, what about the actors? What about the boom mic guy? What about the best boy? They don't necessarily know. I don't know. I think it's an interesting topic. Mike Crawford says Will Smith stated it in an interview as he actually owns part of the rights for Karate Kid. He had to give permission for Cobra Kai. Yeah, Will Smith's name is in the credits of every episode of Cobra Kai. That's very true. Lewis Switcher says, I walked out on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Lewis, you're a better man than I. I couldn't even make it into the theater for Zombies Halloween 2 because I hated Zombies Halloween 1 so much. I often say that I thought when I walked out of Rob Zombie's Halloween 1, I thought that it would be the worst movie I saw that year. And the only reason I don't say it was the worst movie of that year is because a few weeks later I saw Southland Tales with The Rock and Sarah Michelle Gellar, which is the one of the all-time worst movies I've ever seen. So, Lewis says, have I seen the Roman Polanski film Bitter Moon? I have not. I have not. Salivating Salamander says Rosemary's Baby is an amazing movie. I agree. I love Rosemary's Baby. Absolutely. Saw for the first time in an old theater. Perfect atmosphere. I agree. Joe says Fatty Arbuckle was the first example. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Sav says it's 4 a.m. in the UK. I'm going to say goodnight and get some sleep. Sav, thank you for joining us. I hope it was worth your sleep deprivation, but we're happy to have you here always. Oswald Zizu says, I don't think Louis C.K. deserves the hate he's gotten, but he's put in the same category as Cosby, Weinstein, and Spacey. Yeah, he's not as bad, but I don't know. What CK did was still kind of creepy, I think. I'm not saying he doesn't ever deserve a comeback, though. I think Aziz Ansari and James Franco really didn't deserve the hate they got. Like, I don't think they're anywhere. Like, they're not even on that spectrum, but they got it, too. Joey says, if I like it before the scandals, why should it change afterwards? It's a fair opinion. Yep, Lewis says Rob Zombie's Halloween was trash. I agree, but his wife likes it. We're all different. Yes, film is definitely subjective. No question. I am starting to fall asleep, so we're going to have to wrap this up pretty soon. This morning comes quite early. And it's been a long day. A very long day. Kevin says, looking back, it's kind of funny how we didn't suspect anything despite the fact that Cosby played a gynecologist with a practice in his home. I was listening to Gilbert Godfried's podcast, and apparently in the '60s, like back in the I Spy days, Bill Cosby used to teach comedy to Asian models. I thought that was kind of funny. Gilbert said that's why there's so many funny Asian models today, because Cosby taught them all comedy. Mike Crawford says, actually own the Southland Tales Blu-ray. Mike, do you like it? Do you like Southland Tales? Because if so, I apologize. I hate the movie. But as we said, film is subjective. We're not all going to like the same things. So I'm sorry. I did not like it. But if you like it, fair enough. Lewis Switcher says, Christy Swanson over Sarah Michelle Gellar any day. Sav says, always worth staying up to watch. Oh, thank you, Sav. That is too kind. I don't agree with you. Sleep is better than this live stream. That's my opinion, but I appreciate you being here. Liam says, am I going to see Aladdin when it comes out? Probably, but I'm getting a little tired of the Disney remakes. I don't know. They're not going to stop making them, but I'm getting a little burned out on them. But we'll who am I kidding? I saw Dumbo. You know, we're gonna see it. I got kids. They're gonna want to see it. Brandon says, film is subjective, unlike pizza. Yes. Manco and Manco, mediocre pizza. If CS is watching right now, he is angry. Did I ever give my thoughts on Halloween 2018? I think I did. I think I did a review of it. I can't remember. It's been several months, but I'm pretty sure I did. Lewis says, thanks. A wonderful, interactive, and incredibly entertaining show with a genuine host. Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind, man. Thank you, Oswald. Mike says, Southland Tales is actually one of the movies I own still in the watch queue. Oh, so you haven't actually seen it yet. Mike, let me know what you think. Because film is subjective, but I really did not like that movie. Salivating Salamander says, what's a movie everyone objectively loves that you can't get into? Oh, Salivating Salamander. This is very easy for me. And you're probably all going to hate me when I tell you, because there is a movie the entire world loves. The entire world thinks it's like the greatest movie ever. And I don't like it. The Princess Bride. I can't get into it. I know everyone is crazy for that movie, and I just can't get into it. I know, extreme minority, and people get upset when I say I don't like it. But, you know, you shouldn't get upset. You should feel sad for me, because I'm missing out on something other people love, and I wish I could share in the joy, but I just can't get into it. Aubrey says, do I have any films in my collection I haven't gotten to watch yet? Oh, Aubrey, you have no idea. You have no idea. I can't. There's so many. So many. It's ridiculous. There's a coworker who, at my old job who used to ask me weekly, have you watched Wolf of Wall Street yet? And I'd be like, nope. It's not that I don't want to. It's that, like, it's just, I can't find time. I can't find time. Yeah, see, I'm upsetting everyone. Liam says he's never seen The Princess Bride. Yeah, see, look, Kevin says, damn, The Princess Bride. Xteen is crying because I don't like The Princess Bride. Rachel says she's never seen The Princess Bride. Yeah, I'm in the extreme minority on that one. And I know I'm in the extreme minority on that one. Ernest movies, Oswald wants me to rank them. All right, Oswald, there are like 10 Ernest movies and I haven't seen them all. So let's just do the Disney ones, okay? Disney put out 4 of them. Then they put out 1 million that were like direct to video. You know, Ernest Goes to School. Ernest Goes to the Ernest in the Army. Ernest, you know, there were so many direct to video ones. Let's just stick with the 4 Disney ones, okay? So I would say least favorite, Ernest Scared Stupid. I like it. It's just my least favorite. So Ernest Scared Stupid would be my least favorite. Then at number 3, I would say Ernest Saves Christmas. Then at number 2, Ernest Goes to Camp. And my favorite is Ernest Goes to Jail. So of the 4 that Disney put out, that's my ranking. Bottom, Scared Stupid. Next, Saves Christmas. Second favorite goes to camp. Favorite goes to jail. That's my Ernest ranking. Aubrey says I have so many too. I buy films and never watch them. But you see, Aubrey, you got kids, right? It's those of us with the kids. We can't find the time, especially with the R-rated movies. You can't. I mean, it depends how old your kids are, but like I got a 4-year-old. I can't be putting on R-rated movies in front of her. Horror movies, forget it. I horrify them into a coma. And then my wife doesn't want to see the horror movies either. Like I could only watch them when the kids and the wife have gone to bed. So and by that time, I'm tired. So I don't want to stay up and watch them because I'm exhausted. Uh, Austin says Princess Bride is a flick you love and obsess over, or you just don't get it. I'm in the just don't get it camp. Lewis says camp, stupid, jail, school, rides again, slam dunk. But you're still missing in the army, Lewis. I actually used to have a screenplay for an unproduced Ernest movie. It was like written by like John R. Cherry III. Like I don't know where this thing came from. Someone gave it to me, but the title was Ernest and the Water Baby. It was an unproduced Ernest screenplay. I gotta find that. See what happened to it. Excuse me. I am very sneezy today. Yeah, Oswald says I didn't know Disney was involved with the Ernest flicks. Yeah, they did the first 4, and then they distributed. They didn't make, but they distributed Slam Dunk Ernest on video. Interesting story about how Ernest came to be in movies. There was a parade in Hollywood, and Michael Eisner was watching the parade, and Mickey Mouse went by in a car. Mickey was in the parade, and the kids cheered for Mickey Mouse. Then the next car went by in the parade, and Jim Varney was in the car dressed as Ernest. And at the time, he was just, commercial pitchman. And the kids went nuts for Ernest. Ernest got a bigger round of applause than Mickey Mouse. Michael Eisner said to whoever was with him, "Who's that?" And they said, "Oh, that's Ernest. He does commercials." He said, "Sign him to a movie contract. When you get more applause than Mickey Mouse, we want you on a movie contract." And then Ernest Goes to Camp came out. Aubrey says, my kid is 2 years old and she asks to watch Halloween. Should I be worried? My kids get nightmares over the Grinch. I could never get them to watch Halloween. Just last night, Kira was screaming for me and told me she had a dream that the Grinch was in her room. So she's scared of the Grinch. John Cherry wrote an Ernest memoir. Great read. I'm going to have to look for that. I didn't know about that. Oswald says, Swedish Chef is my favorite Muppet. Just saying, Bork Pork. I love the Swedish Chef. My favorite is, I love Sam the Eagle and Sweetums. I love Sweetums. I can relate to Sweetums because he's like my height. Brandon says the 10th movie was going to be Ernest dealing with pirates. Yeah, he died on the set of that one, right? That was Ernest the Pirate was the one he died on the set of. Aubrey says she'll say Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. She's a Michael Myers fan. Okay, guys. I gotta go. It is late, and I need sleep, and I have work in the morning, but I would like to thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys being here, taking the time out of your schedule to watch. Thank you. And I will do this again next Monday, or I'll be in CS's live stream next Monday. I don't know which. It depends on what the kids are doing. I never know. I don't know. But thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good night. Keep wearing those pajamas. I'm going to go get unconscious. Good night, everyone.